So let's get into the joins and see how we can be able to perform the joins in SQL. So I'm just trying to set up this. So let's have a new file here so that let's just name it the joins. Okay, so yeah, so I think we are set to go. So let's begin to look at the joins. So today we'll be looking at the introduction to joins, what basically those are. Then we look at how to perform the inner join, the left join, the right join, the full outer join, and the cross join. So those are actually the types of joins that we have in the SQL. So those are the basic ones that we'll actually be looking at. So basically we'll get introduced, we'll get an understanding of the inner join, the left and the right join, the full outer join, and also the cross join. So let's have the introduction to the joins. So let's get to look at or to understand what is entailed in the joins. So when you talk of the joins in SQL, okay. So when you talk of the joins, sorry about that. So SQL joins, they are used so that, of course, we can be able to combine the rows for two or more of the tables that we have actually created. That is actually based on the related columns that are there in those given tables. So the related column actually has to appear in both of the tables. Like for example, when you have got a table, table 1, and we have got another table, table 2, then of course we will be looking at the given columns that are actually there in the table. So you have to have maybe a column X, which is actually a common to both of them, so that of course you can be able to join them. This is actually not a must because sometimes you can actually be able to also perform the different kinds of joins that we'll actually be looking at. So, they actually, when you look at this, actually, the joins allows you to be able to retrieve the data from multiple tables that are actually there, so that of course you can be able to have them in a single query by specifying how the tables should actually be connected. So there are several types of joins that we have in the SQL, just like we did mention. So so the join statement is the one that we actually use so that of course you can be able to join. So let's look at just the overview of the performance of those different types of joins. So when you look at the different overview of the joins that we have, number one, we have got the inner join. So the inner join helps you, so an inner join returns for you the rows that have got the matching values in both of the tables based on the specified uh, join condition, yeah, that that is there. So a good example of the performance of the inner join is when actually we are retrieving the employee's name along with maybe the department names where they are actually where there's actually a match between the department ID, the department IDs that are there. So when you're actually retrieving the employee's name, you can be able to actually get the employee's name from the different departments that is actually there depending on the department the department ID that is there. So after the performance of the after the inner join, we also have got the left join. So the left join actually it's actually what we also refer to as the left outer join. So a left join basically it returns for us all the rows from the left table. That is the first table, and then of course also it gives us the matching rows, yeah, that are actually there on the right table, yeah, the second table. So if actually there is no match, then null values will be returned for the columns of the right for the columns of the right table, yeah. So that's actually the performance of the left join. So we can be able to retrieve the data, which is actually everything which is actually there on the left, and of course the matching values which are actually on the right. So when you talk of the left and the right, when I talk of the left, I actually mean the first table. The right actually means the second table. Then we have got the right join. So in the right join, a right join basically it returns for us um, it returns for us all the rows which are actually there. Sorry. So the right join basically it returns for us all the values, yeah, all the rows from the right table. That is actually the second table, and the matching values or the matching rows which are actually on the left table. That's actually the first table. So if there's no match, of course we'll get the null values. The null values will actually be given. The null values will be returned for the columns of the left table. Then we have got the full join, or what we also refer to as the full outer join. So in the full outer join, it just returns for us all the rows where there's actually a match in either of the right or the left table. So it actually combines the results of both the left and the right joins. That's actually what we have of the right, the full join or the full outer join. So I think there's one which has actually not been captured here. So we have got also the cross joins. So a cross join is actually to return for us the Cartesian product of the two tables. That meaning that it will actually give us, or it will actually return for us all the possible combination of the rows between the tables. So let's get to look at these particulars. Just a minute. So let's just have this. So I think before we just get there to perform those particulars, just so let's say that in the performance of our joins, we'll just create some two tables that will help us so that because we can be able to check these two particulars. So let me go ahead and create tables. I'll say create table, and then of course the name of the table, let's just say the first one is actually the departments. Departments table. So in the departments table, I want to have the department ID. The department ID, which will actually be an integer, the primary key. Then I want to also have the department name, where the department name actually will be a variable character var 50. So in that manner, let me just run this and see. So let's use switch database. Let's use there's a database that we have just created, my database. So let's use my database. So let's use my database for that purpose. So we've created a particular, so we've created the first table there for the departments. And then the next thing that happens is, okay. Just refresh that. So we have got the tables department here. The next thing I want to do is to go ahead now and create a table for the employees. So I'll create a table for the employees, whereby I'll create a table for the employees. I'll just say create table, which I'll just call employees. So the table for the employees, basically what I want is the employees ID, the employee ID, which actually will be given as an integer. This is actually the primary key. The primary key. I also want to give the employee's name. Employee name. So the employee name actually will be given as a variable character. Let's say not more than 50. Then of course, the next thing that I want to give is maybe the department identification. So department ID, and the department ID will just be given us. So that will actually be given as an integer. So an integer. The next thing, I'll just give a foreign key. So the foreign key yeah, in that manner. So that will actually be the department. Yeah, the department ID, where I'll just reference that as the department. So department ID. Department ID in that manner. So this actually should be references. References in that manner. So let me just run that. Yeah. Then after that, the next thing that I want to do, I'll go ahead and insert the data. Yeah. So I'll just insert a few of the data that would actually help us so that we can be able to look at how these particulars actually work. So go ahead and now insert the data. Insert data. So I'll just insert the data by saying insert into the table called departments. So insert into departments. Then of course I'll just give the department ID, department ID. I'll also give the department name, yeah, in that manner. Then of course I'll give the values, yeah. Then in the values, I'll actually have number 1 to be represented by the HR department in that manner. Number 2, I'll actually have the finance. Let me just have the finance. Finance department in that manner. Number 3, I'll have the marketing in that manner. Yeah, so number 3, I'll have marketing in that manner. So let me just finish on that. So let me run that particular. So the data has actually been inserted. The next thing that I want to do is now to also insert the employees data. So I'll just say insert employees data. So in the insertion of the employees data, I'll simply say insert into employees. Insert into the employees. Then of course I need to have the employee ID. I also need to have the employees name and the department ID. So employee name and then the department ID. Yeah, those particulars. So I'll just give values in that manner. Then I'll go ahead and give the particulars. So let me say that the employee ID may be 101, whose name actually, let's say, for example, is given as what name? Let me just say the employee, let me say Mary. Let me just say Mary Otieno. Mary Otieno. And of course, let me say, working in the HR department, given the reference as one. Then of course, let's close that. Let's give another employee here and say that maybe employee 102, yeah, whose name is maybe let me say Steve Achila, yeah, Steve Achila. Let me say that Steve Achila also is working in the HR. Let's just give one. Then let's get another where we'll say like, let's say a 103, 103, and let's say the 103, let's say we have got Beta, maybe Beta Sala. Then of course, Beta Sala, let's give them particular, maybe the department, let's say maybe number 2. That is actually the finance department. Then let me have like maybe the 4th, well, just say 104, given as maybe let me say, let me say the employee is Zoe Aditi. Zoe Aditi. Then let's talk of working in the marketing department 3. Yeah, in that manner. So I think up to there, that's fine. So let me just close that in that manner. So just go ahead and execute this as well. Execute that. So we already have the 2 tables created and also populated for us. So I want to now go ahead and perform the different types of joins that we have. So, so I can be able to say, so how can we be able to show what's actually on the tables? So let me say maybe select everything from what was the name of the first table? From departments. Select everything from departments. Let me execute this and see if that will run. So in the departments, you can be able to see we have got the different departments, 1, 2, 3, HR, finance, and marketing. Then of course, let's also say select everything from employees. Select everything from employees, whereby you can be able to see these are the particular employees that we have. Mary Otieno, Steve Achila, Beta Salah, Zoe, and so on. The departments that are there, the employee ID, that one. So now I want us to go ahead now and look at the different joins. So say here perform. Perform the joins. So in the performance of the joins, we had actually talked of the different joins that we have. We have got the inner join. Yeah. So in the inner join, basically, we can be able to consider maybe a given table that basically could have maybe the roll number, the name, the address, the phone number, of course, also the age. in that manner. And then, of course, we can be able to have another table which also has got the course ID and the roll number. So when you actually perform the inner join, we'll actually be joining the two tables, and actually they will join on the part where there's actually a similarity of the two particular tables. Yeah. So like, for example, the two tables that I've given here, the course ID, the roll number, and of course here we have got the roll number, name, address, phone, and age. So actually the inner join actually would be joined based on the roll number that actually appears in both the tables. Yeah. The first table and of course also the second table. Yeah. So you can be able to see the roll number. So that's actually the performance of the inner join. So let's see how we can be able to perform this particular inner join, so that of course you can be able to get to understand the inner join. So let's just get there. The performance of the inner join. So for us to be able to perform the inner join, number one, we'll just select whatever we have that actually we want to perform the inner joins. So let's say inner join, the inner joins. So we'll say select employees dot employees underscore name. Yeah. Then of course we'll get also to give the departments dot departments dot departments. I mean not dot department underscore name. Yeah. So then I'll say from the employees, and then I'll say inner join. So the performance of the inner join, you have to have the keyword inner join in that manner. Departments on the employees department ID because actually the department ID is what actually is there in the common or between the two tables. So the department ID is equals to department dot departments. The department dot department ID in that manner. So that actually will go ahead and perform for us the inner join department ID that manner. So let me run this. Let me go ahead and run this. Did I get anything wrong? Unknown column employees dot employee underscore name employee employee dot employee name, not employee's name. Departments dot department ID is in. Let me just check again. Departments dot department underscore name, that's fine. From employees inner join departments on employees dot department ID is equals to department underscore ID. Where have I got wrong? That's actually should be the employees, employee name, departments, dot department name from employees. Then I join departments on employees dot department ID will be given as departments dot department ID. That looks correct. Okay. I think there's a spelling error somewhere. I'm just trying to look. I can't see it. I think it's this one. Department ID. I think it was that one. Yes. So that's actually correct. So yeah, so of course you can be able to see it actually now joins for us the table with the different departments that are actually there. So of course you can be able to see what it returns. Mary Otieno, the HR, Steve Achila, HR, Beta Sala Finance, and Zoe Aditi, marketing. Yeah, so of course it returns for us the employee name and the department. So that's the manner in which you can be able to perform the inner join. So let's get to the next bits of it. How can we be able to perform the left join? So of course after that, let's get to look at the left join. So we did say that the left join, basically, we are actually having everything which is appearing to the left and joining actually to what's actually on the right hand side. The first table, everything on the first table, and we are joining it to actually what's actually there also in the right table. So let's say that we want to perform a left join. So of course, we'll say like select the employee's name and also the department name. So I'll say select employees. Select employees dot employee name, yeah, in that manner, and then departments dot department name. Then of course from, so we'll select that from employees. So we'll actually employ that, select that from the employees. And then of course we'll say now perform for us the left join. Yeah, the left join on the departments on the employees dot the department ID. Yeah, so that's actually will be on the department ID will be given as departments dot department ID. That manner. Let me just execute that. Yeah, so of course it will actually perform for me the left join, whereby all the employees and the employees and the how do you call them? The department name would actually be returned for me in that manner. The next thing, how can you be able to perform a right join? So performance of the right join. So in the performance of the right join, basically what happens, this is actually how we can be able to perform the right join. I'll just say select the employees select employees dot employee name. Yeah. Then of course also the departments dot department dot department name. Then of course from now this actually from the employees then perform for me the right join. The departments on the employee employees dot department ID will be given as a departments dot department ID in that manner. So I think that's correct up to there. So we are selecting everything from there. We are selecting actually from the employees. We are actually selecting the name and the department. Then we are actually performing a right join on the employees ID. Yeah, the employees ID. So in our performance of the right join, when we run this, when we execute that, of course, it will return for me everything which is actually to the right and what is actually everything which is actually to the right and how it's actually joined to the one on the left. So that's actually how to perform the right join. The next thing is how can we be able to perform a full join? So performance of the full join. So in the performance of the full join, basically here we actually we can be able to perform that in this manner. We just say select employees, dot the employee name, then of course you'll also select the department name. So departments dot department name in that manner. So we are selecting this actually from the employees. Then after selecting it from the employees, we'll just get a full join. So we'll say full join. So fully join for us the departments on the employees department ID. So employee on the employees department ID will actually be given as employee not employee, but departments dot the department ID, departments dot department ID. Dot department ID in that manner. So let me run that. Did I get something wrong? Full join on the departments, full join departments on employees dot department underscore ID will be given as departments dot department underscore ID. Let me get employees dot employee name in the field, employees dot employee underscore name. So select unknown column. So it's actually employees dot employee underscore name departments dot department underscore name, that manner. Execute that. Which one did I get correct? From the employees, full join on the departments, full join departments on employees dot department underscore ID will be given is equals to departments dot department underscore ID. Basically, I can't be able to see what error that is. Unknown column employees dot employee underscore name. Select employees dot employee underscore name. That's correct. It could be actually just a simple error, but I can't be able to see where the problem is merging from. So just give me time to check that. Employees dot employee. That looks like it's correct, but I can't see any error here. Employees, is it treated that way? Employees dot employee name departments dot department name. That's correct. From the employees full join departments on the employees dot department ID. Employees dot employee underscore name. Just a minute. How do we call it? How do you call the full join? So we have got the left join, we've got the right join, we've looked at those. And then of course we also have got the right join, we've looked at that.
Water join.
It's actually called I'm sure we don't have the full join. Let's try if that's actually the outer join, because I think outer join. Let's see, just a minute. I think that's also not there. Just 1 minute, let me just check that. So let me just try the full outer join. Just confuse that. So I don't think if that actually would also work. Because that actually also would just give us an error. So I think in the SQL, do you really have the? I'm not very sure. In MySQL, just trying to recall. I think there's only I think we only have got we have got the union. Yeah, I think there's the union. Not sure if there's actually there. So I think I'll just confirm this first. If actually that's actually correct. Just confirm that. The union actually, you can be able to perform your right join and the left join, and of course have the union of the two joins. So just a minute, let me just confirm that. Yeah, so I think in MySQL, the joins, we have got the inner join, we have got the right join. Then of course there's only the right and the left join. And there's only them. What do you call them? The inner join, the left join, the right join. Then we have got the self join. Yeah, we've got the self join. So MySQL actually it can be able to there's the self join, so that of course that you can also be able to perform. So performing self joins, we can be able to perform self joins with that is actually joining the data with itself. So like when you have got maybe the employees table from the database, you can actually be able to store only the employees data, but also the organization's data. So of course you can be able to use the different columns, so that of course you can be able to determine the different maybe the different IDs of the employees that are there. So we have got this. I think there's no full join. Yeah, there's no full join actually. Just to confirm that there's no full join in MySQL. So I think there's no full join in MySQL. Just correct that. Just be able to correct that. The full outer join is actually not there in MySQL. Yeah, but of course in the other, I think it's actually there in the other databases. Like we have got the Postgres SQL. I think it would be there in the Postgres SQL. But for MySQL, it's actually not there. So we only have the inner, we have got the Then we have got the inner join, we have got the right join, we have got the left join, and then there's also the cross join that we'll just look at as well, the last thing. So performing of the cross joins, let's just get there. So this actually, we actually don't have that. So we have got the cross joins. The cross joins. So the cross joins, basically what happens in the cross joins, so 1 minute. We can be able to perform the cross joins in this manner. We'll just say, select from the, so we have to get from the employees table, get the employees ID. So select employees dot employee okay, select employee underscore name, then of course departments dot department name from employees, then perform for me the cross join on the departments. Let me execute this. Okay. Which one did you get right? My database employees. Okay, we didn't just get the employees here right. Let me just run that. So that actually would perform for you the cross join. So in the cross join, basically it will actually be able to, it's actually a mix, yeah, in the cross join. So that's actually what happens in the cross join. So it joins for you in this particular manner, whereby the first date actually will be joined with the 3, the second with the 3, the third also with the what's actually entailed in the whole data. So that's actually what is there in the cross joins. That's actually what's there in the cross joins. So after the cross joins, so that's actually what you have in the cross joins, yeah, and so on. So I think after that, that actually would finish for us on the joins. Concept of the self join. So the self join, basically what it does for us, so it actually joins the table to itself. Yeah, so that's actually what we refer to as the self join. So it joins the table to itself using either an inner join or a left join. So that's actually what the self join does for us. So you can actually be able to use either the inner join, or maybe you can use actually the left join, so that of course you can be able to join the table to itself. So that's actually what happens in the self join. So in the self join, basically, let's see if you can be able to get that. Sorry about that. So the self join, basically, let's just look at one thing on the self join. Then of course we can be able to call that maybe to the end. So let's say that we have got We're talking about self join. So let's select. So select from the employees. Sorry. Employees dot employee name. So how can we be able to do that? Let's have it in this manner. So let's just try this out if this will actually work out for us. So let's say so let's say that we have got the table of the table of the employees. So we'll just say select e dot employees name. Then let's use as employee name. Maybe let's say m dot employee name as let's say maybe we want to, so let's say for example, am I really going to manage to do that in that manner? I'm just trying to think through the architecture of how to do that. Let me just try it out first. So maybe as let's maybe say like we are selecting a given employee as the manager. Let's say like maybe as a manager name. So let's say from employees as E in that manner. Then let's do the left join. The employees M on E dot the manager's ID. But basically we don't have here, but let's just try. Maybe the manager ID will be given as M dot employee underscore ID. So just trying to think of how that works out. So basically, for me to be able to perform this, I'll have to introduce the manager ID. So let me just do this so that of course I can be able to perform the self join. Let me say okay. Let me give this. I was just trying to think this through. So for me to be able to perform this, I have to actually create this particular. So let me say create table employees and then in the table I'm supposed to have basically three things. The employee ID, the name, and of course the manager's ID, so that of course I can be able to do a self join on the employee. So I'll say so that particular table already. exist employee. So let me say I have got here the employee ID, which will actually be given as an integer, and the primary key, primary key. We also have got the employee name, the employee name, which will actually be given as the variable character. Let's say maybe 50, in that manner. Then let's say we have got the manager ID. Manager ID, which will actually be given as an integer. So let's close that. So I need to go ahead and populate this particular data. Insert. So I'll just say, let me have a different, so I'll just say like, let me say, insert into the employee. So I'll just give employee. That's correct. Employee. Then I'll give insert into the employee. Then I'll give the particular. So I'll just give the employee ID. Employee ID. I'll give them employee name. And I'll also give the manager ID. Yeah, in that manner. So then of course I'll pass the values. And then in the values, I'll basically have this. So I'll say maybe one given as maybe, let's say, John. Sorry, let me say John. And then let me say that maybe, for example, this is given as null. Yeah, for the first, maybe let's say the first person has no manager. Number two, let's say maybe number two, the name is let's say Jane, and Jane, the manager is actually one. In that manner. Then let's say number three, let's say number three, we have got maybe say Bob. We have say Bob, who's manager. Let's also say maybe the manager is one. Then let's say we have got number 4, whose name is, let me say Alice. And then his manager is maybe say number 2, in that manner. Then let's have number 5. Number 5, whose name, let's say maybe is Eva. And the manager of Eva, let's say the manager of Eva manager of Eva, let's say, is also number 2 in that manner. So let me run this, or let me execute this particular one. Then I'll just select the employee, select E dot employee name, the employee name, E dot employee name as employee name, then M dot employee name as the manager's name, from the employee as E, the employee, not as E, the employee E, yeah, the employee E, then of course do a left join on employee M on E dot manager ID, M dot employee ID. Let me just try to execute this and see. So this is actually what the self join actually will give us. We have got the employee name and the manager name in this particular manner. So of course, this is what we have with the self join. So in this particular query, what happens? E is actually the alias for the employee. M is actually the alias for the it's another alias for also the employee. Then we actually use now the left join so that we can be able to match each of the employee with their corresponding manager based on the manager's ID and the employee ID columns that we have. So that's actually what happens in the particular code that is actually there. The full join actually is not in MySQL. MySQL does not have the full join. So the joins that are actually there in MySQL, sorry. So the joins that basically we have in MySQL, we have got the inner join, we have got the left join, the right join, we have got the cross join, and also the self join.